If it's Thursday night, say yeah. For it's another edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyo here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Glad to have you with us. Good old MF Michael Fletcher here as well. I don't know about Michael Bullock. Bullock, I know, is out. I don't know if he'll be joining us anytime soon. If he does, we'll catch him up on what he missed when he comes in. Or if not, then we'll see him tomorrow night for NFL Friday. So earlier start time than we normally projected, but it's because of the fact that MF and I both have early work commitments tomorrow morning. So we're going to try to get the show done as quickly as we can. So, yes, week 5 already. I mean, my goodness. I mean, this season has been flying so quickly. So, and we have a game in progress right now. The we have the number 16 Miami Hurricanes squaring off against the North Carolina Tar Heels over at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami on ESPN, their Thursday night college football game. And the U is putting a whooping on North Carolina right now. It is at the half, and Miami leading 33-10. So I think it's safe to say, barring a major letdown, I think the U is going to win that one rather handily. So I had Miami winning that thing 30-20, but boy, they've proven me wrong. But that game is over on ESPN, and their Thursday night crew of Dave Fleming, Gene Chizik, and Jonathan Vilma on the call, along with the lovely Laura Rutledge on the sidelines. So yeah, and Miami opened up as 18 and 19-point favorites. So I can't say I'm surprised about that. So all right, let's get into the other action. No game tomorrow. So every game that we have tonight, Saturday games. And we're going to start it off at high noon with your reigning and defending undisputed national champion Alabama Crimson Tide at home at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, high noon, SEC Network against the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana. And on the call for that one is going to be, let me find it here. Yes, Taylor Zarzar with Matt Stitchcomb and Chris Budden. And just trying to get my odds here. Yeah, we want the Saturday odds because there's no Friday ranked games. Oh, yeah, Alabama. Oh, my God. You got to listen to this. Alabama is favored by 48.5 to 49 points. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, I think we all know how this one goes. In 2 games against FBS competition, Louisiana has surrendered 552 yards and 43 points a game. The Tua Tagovailoa hype train is not slowing down in week 5. Absolutely not. Bama all day, 52-10. Nothing more to say. MF, 48.5 to 49. I think that's the biggest spread we've ever seen.
That's a monster. That's a monstrous spread, guys. There's really nothing more to say about that. Alabama, definitely the perennial favorite in this one. What reason do I need to talk about this game? Honestly, Bama wins in a rout. Nothing more to say. Florio, let's go to the next game.
Yeah, and you started off, MF. But this one will be a lot more competitive, believe me. This is without question one of our games of the week. I could probably put this in the sleeper category because we got a lot of great ones coming up this week. High noon on ABC, the number 3 Clemson Tigers at home at Memorial Stadium in Death Valley, and they're going to be squaring off against the very surprising Syracuse Orange. Oh man, do I mean surprising? Clemson is favored 25 to 25.5. That's not a surprise. We got Sean McDonough, Todd Blackledge, and Holly Rowe on the call. So, MF, let's not forget. Last year, these two teams met in the Carrier Dome, and Syracuse pulled off one of the big upsets of last year.
Yeah, and both teams are undefeated, 4-0 both ways. Dangerous game. Watch out if you're Clemson, because like you said, 1 year ago they got upended and almost killed their dream at the national championship. So they got to be prepared. They got to be ready for the war. Even though this time around they're at home, that definitely will give them a little bit of a boost. So yes, at the end of the day, I do agree. I do have Clemson winning this, but this is going to be a little more closer than what the experts have it, guys. I think that 20 something point spread is a little high. For me, 31. I'm going to say 31-21. With Clemson winning. So Anthony, it's yours.
Syracuse sprung one of last season's biggest upsets when it upended Clemson. Granted, it helped that Tigers quarterback Kelly Bryant miss time due to a concussion. Although the Orange are improved on both sides of the ball, the Tigers switch to Trevor Lawrence at quarterback will propel a dynamic Clemson offense past Syracuse. I agree with you, MF. I got Clemson winning. I got a little more distance than you, just a smidge. I got Clemson winning 42-27. I'm going with Clemson to win that one. So moving on, and here's another one of our games of the week. I probably would say this is probably maybe 4 or 5 on the list. Like I said, we got a lot of beauties this week, especially in prime time. But another great high noon matchup on ESPN2. We got the number 12 West Virginia Mountaineers squaring off against the number 25 Texas Tech Red Raiders at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock, Texas. ESPN2 will have this game, and we got Anish Shroff with Ahmad Brooks and Roddy Jones on the call. And it is West Virginia opening up as 3.5 to 4-point favorites. Both offenses are cruising. The difference in this Big 12 clash will be seen in which defense performs the best. Texas Tech limited Oklahoma State to 17 points last week, but remains susceptible against the run, allowing 4.6 yards a carry this season. I think West Virginia will sneak out with a tight win in a high-scoring game, much to my delight, unlike MF, who loves those defensive battles. Hey, you got one in the NFL last week, buddy. Oh, Tennessee and Jacksonville. Oh, you were like a kid in the candy store on that one, that 9-6 final.
I love the defense.
Oh, yeah, you do. In Tennessee and Jacksonville, last week, 9-6. Wow. That's a vintage Michael Fletcher defensive battle, but you ain't getting that here, buddy. Oh, no, you're not. Because I got West Virginia winning this game. My final score, you're not going to like this, MF. 45-38, West Virginia over Texas Tech. Nothing more to say, MF. You love defense? Well, I love offense.
Yeah. No, this is going to be a high-scoring game, no doubt about it. I kind of feel like West Virginia is going to win this game. I feel like it's going to be, yes, I do agree. I think it's going to be an explosive, high-scoring game, but I think it's going to be a lot more closer. So 38-35, West Virginia beats Texas Tech. I think it's going to be a shootout, boys. So, but nothing more to say. Anthony, next game.
And it's our final high noon game. This one's going to be over on Fox Sports 1. The number 21 Michigan State Spartans at home at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing. They're going to be squaring off against the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Michigan State opening up as 29 to 29.5-point favorites. And this game will be on Fox Sports 1 with Sean Kelly and James Laurinaitis. So nothing more to say except MF, Michigan State, a nice win over Indiana last week. And they're back at home against a soft opponent, so they should have an easy one here.
Well, they say they're supposed to have an easy opponent. I don't know if it's going to be an easy opponent or not, but they should win this game, no doubt about it. At the end of the day, Michigan State is definitely probably going to be looking forward because of the fact that once they get out of that game, they actually get into the I want to say into the heart of the Big Ten Conference play, and they start out with Northwestern. That should be a winnable game, but then they hit the murderer's row. They got 2 tough games back to back. Penn State on the road at Happy Valley. Then they go home, and Michigan comes a knocking. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. That's going to be 2 interesting games, but they should get this easy one here. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours. Michigan State wins.
Whether Tony Poljan or Tommy Lazzaro has been under center, Central Michigan's pass offense has struggled. Michigan State can be beaten through the air, but there's no evidence of a breakout game from either quarterback. So I agree 100% MF. I got Michigan State. I got them winning easily this time around. 45-13, Michigan State over Central Michigan. So that takes care of the high noon games. Now let's go into the 3:30 matchups. And here's a good one to start it off. The SEC on CBS. You know how much we love that. The number 2 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs at home. Sanford Stadium in the Hedges. They're going to be squaring off against the Volunteers of Tennessee. Oh, yeah. The vintage SEC matchup here. And Georgia opening up as very sizable favorites, 30.5 to 31-point favorites. You don't need a dirt sheet. You know who's working this. It's the SEC on CBS. It's the same crew all the time. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jamie Erdahl, they'll be there. And oh boy. So okay. As long as Georgia doesn't lose 6 fumbles at the 1-yard line, the Dogs nearly did twice last week. A Tennessee squad that surrendered 47 points to Florida is not pulling an upset on the road. Yeah, this is. I think this will be an easy one for Georgia. I think they should cover that spread of 30.5 to 31. I got it right on the button. 45-14. Georgia should have no trouble with Tennessee whatsoever, unless Peyton Manning or T. Martin comes through that door. Ain't happening. MF, nothing more to say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Georgia should win this game. As long as they stay away from the big mistakes, they should be fine. Georgia wins. Nothing more to say. Anthony, next game.
Alrighty. And this game just got a little more interesting. It lost its luster over the years. A few years ago, this was one of the big games in the Big 12. But it may have it back here. Let's see. This will be at 3:30 on ABC. The number 6 Oklahoma Sooners at home, Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman, hosting the 3-1 Baylor Bears. Oklahoma opening up as a sizable favorite, 23.5 to 24. We got Mark Jones with Dusty Dvorak and the lovely Molly McGrath on the sidelines. MF, I mean, once upon a time, when we were doing this show, we would always highlight this as one of our games of the week, let alone the year. Lost its luster a little bit, but who knows? Baylor coming in at 3-1. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna we might get some traction here.
Not really, because I just feel Oklahoma's just a dominating team. They're really good. They play under pressure really well. There hasn't been that much of a major threat. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna go with I truly believe that Oklahoma should win. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a shootout, but I just don't think it's going to be that major big of a threat. So at the end of the day, I'm going to say Oklahoma wins this one, and they're going to win this one going away. My final score is 41-27. 41-27, Oklahoma over Baylor. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, prior to its matchup with Kansas, Baylor ceded at least 20 points to Abilene Christian and UTSA, and then 40 to Duke. Unless the Bears' Week 4 showing marked a proverbial switch flipping, Oklahoma's high-powered offense will again be on display. I got Oklahoma winning this one a little more handily than you do, MF. I got Oklahoma winning 48-24. That's my final. So nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next 3:30 matchup. We got the number 13 UCF Knights at home at Spectrum Stadium in Orlando. They're going to be hosting the Pitt Panthers. Oh, this should be an interesting one. I smell another sleeper matchup here. UCF opening up as 13 to 13.5-point favorites. And we got Mike Corey and Renee and Galia on the call. This will be on ESPN University. And I believe I start this one off. So, the last time Pitt faced an explosive attack, it gave up 51 points to Penn State. 2 weeks later, the Panthers watched North Carolina put up 35. That's not a great sign heading into a date with the nation's number 9 scoring offense. Nothing more to say on this. I got UCF winning. My final score, 43-28, UCF over Pitt. MF, what do you say?
I agree. I got UCF winning this game as well. The only danger I would have is that with Pitt at Pitt, just keep an eye on them because they can sneak and pull an upset. But well, actually, no, it's in UCF. So I'm sorry, I stand corrected. Nah, UCF should win this handily. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
And we move on to our final 3:30 kickoff. This one over on Fox Sports 1. We got the number 18 Texas Longhorns squaring off against the Kansas State Wildcats at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas. FS1 has this matchup. We got Tim Brando with Spencer Tillman and the lovely Holly Saunders, and trying to see. Texas opening up as 8 to 9 point favorites. MF, I mean, you've been very high on Texas. I mean, you had them upsetting USC, and then last week you had them upsetting TCU. So obviously, I think I know where you're going with this one.
I'm going to go with Texas again. Look, after that first loss, which was the inexplicable loss against Maryland, but then again, I can't fault them for that. They beat Tulsa, not impressive, but boy, have they caught the nation's eyes because of the fact that in back-to-back weeks, they knock off USC. At the time, USC was a really good team, guys. I mean, they're now 22nd in the nation, but back then they were like a top 10, top 15 team. So they did that. Then they turn around, beat a TCU team that actually was labeled as a really good team, and they won that. But now they got a big test against Kansas State, which I do believe they will win. But, Anthony, next week after that, October 6th, you know what it is. You know what it is. Red River Rivalry. Cotton Bowl, Dallas, Texas, Texas, Oklahoma.
Game of the week.
Well, let's get ready to rumble. That's all I'm saying. Whoa. Texas wins. Nothing more. Florio, go.
And you brought the hype man mode. You only usually do that on the wrestling shows, but it's one of those rare times you bring it on the football show. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma. I'm gonna have to look in the next week's schedule. I mean, as of now, I'm penciling that in as the game of the week, unless there's something even bigger going down. But I'll get back to you on that at the end of the show. But for right now, though any Texas offense will be the featured story whenever the program is thriving, defense is carrying the Longhorns right now. That trend will continue if their run defense keeps playing at this level. Kansas State isn't built to win as a passing team. So I got Texas as well, MF. I agree with you. 27-17, Texas over Kansas State. Nothing more to say. We move on now. We have a 4 o'clock kickoff. This will be on the SEC Network. The number 10 Auburn Tigers at home at Jordan-Hare Stadium. They're going to be hosting the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss over on the SEC Network. And on the call for that one will be Dave Neal, DJ Shockley, and Dawn Davenport over on the SEC Network, like I said. And Auburn opening up as 26.5 to 27-point favorites. Southern Miss has leaned heavily on Jack Abraham, who's averaged 35.7 pass attempts in 3 games. Quarterbacks have mustered only 6.6 yards a throw against Auburn, which should be able to rely on the running game and dispatch the Golden Eagles. So nothing more to say on this. I got Auburn winning handily, 45-21, Auburn over Southern Miss. Nothing more to say, MF. Sounds like another easy bounce back for Lindsey McCormick's Auburn Tigers after that devastating loss to LSU some time ago.
Oof, yeah, that devastating is not even the word I would talk about. I would say that could have been catastrophic. But look, at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. You got to handle your business, and I think they will. I like what I see from hold on, I'm sorry. I like what I see from Auburn right now. Yes, that loss was really devastating. But I do believe that Gus Malzahn and the boys will turn it around. They'll get it back. So we'll go from there.
All right, we move on, and we have a 4:30 kickoff, a very rare 4:30 kickoff, and this is going to be on Fox. Fox will have this next matchup. MF, I know you're going to have a vested interest in this one, as it's your team. Your number 14, Michigan Wolverines, squaring off against the Northwestern Wildcats at Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois. This game's on Fox, and Fox's A team's going to be there. Yes, our boy, MF, Gus Johnson, with Joel Klatt and the lovely Jenny Taft. They will be there. And Michigan opening up as 14.5 to 15-point favorites. MF, I mean, Michigan, 1/3 of a banner weekend for you, my man. I mean, to go along with your Atlanta Braves winning the NL East and the Miami Dolphins continuing their winning ways. And Michigan, if it wasn't for that tough luck loss to Notre Dame, MF, they'd be 4-0. And who knows? They'd probably be top 10 worthy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would probably say that. No doubt about it. I would probably say that would work, and Michigan, they got to play those big games. They got to have those big moments coming up, and we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, I think they'll win this game today on Saturday as well. They just have that feel, and it looks everything good, and we'll just go from there. I mean, one game at a time, one battle at a time. I know we got Michigan State coming up very soon, so they got some big names coming up, and we'll go from there. Nothing more to say. Yes, I agree with you. Michigan should win this game. Nothing more to say. And Anthony, it's yours.
The surprise injury-related retirement of Northwestern runner Jeremy Larkin has major short-term implications. He's accounted for 473 of the Wildcats' 1,273 yards from scrimmage and 5 of their 10 touchdowns. Replacing that production this quickly opposite the nation's number 3 defense is way too much to ask. There's nothing more to say. MF, I got your boys. I got them winning this one rather handily. My final score, 42-17. Michigan all over Northwestern. Nothing more to say. Let's move on to our next kickoff, 6 o'clock. This will be on ESPN. The number two, and this is another one of our games of the week, probably right around sleeper level. This is probably like around 6 or 7, like I said, because we got so many great ones still to come. The number 23 Mississippi State Bulldogs at home at Davis Wade Stadium at Scott Field in Starkville. They're going to be hosting the Florida Gators. Ooh, that's going to be a good one there. 6 o'clock over on ESPN. We got Dave Patch with Greg McElroy and Tom Luginbill on the call. And Mississippi State opening up as 7 to 7.5 point favorites. So let's get the ball rolling here. After recording 8+ yards of play in 3 straight games, Mississippi State's offense disappeared during its loss at Kentucky. "Quote unquote concerning" is an understatement. I will still trust a dynamic offense given the equal defensive matchup, but the Bulldogs are close to losing the benefit of the doubt. But I'm going with Mississippi State to win this one anyway. My final score, 27-20. Mississippi State over Florida. Nothing more to say. MF, right around 6 or 7 on our game of the week totem pole. But like I said, we got so many great matchups still to come. This is one of them.
Yeah, this is a great matchup, no doubt about it. And I agree with you. I think Mississippi State will win this game. It's going to be a tough game, no doubt about it, but I just think they're going to be better than Florida. So, yeah, I agree. Mississippi State wins. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Okay, when it comes to this next game, which will be a 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN2, we're talking about Virginia Tech and Duke. And now, here's the thing. One of these teams is ranked, but it's not the team you think. Duke is coming into this as the ranked team, if you can believe it. The number 22 Duke Blue Devils at home at Brooks Field at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham. They're going to be hosting the aforementioned Virginia Tech Hokies, no longer in the poll. This one will be over on ESPN2. let me find the okay. It's Vatek and Duke, and it'll be Clay Matvick with Dan Orlovsky and Paul Carcatera on the call. Duke opening, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Duke is actually opening up as 4.5 to 5 point favorites. Oh my goodness, MF. I mean, we got a lot to think about here. I mean,
well,
number one, since when is Duke a football school? We always thought of them as a basketball school, especially you, Mr. Duke. I mean, because we all know how much you love the hoop team. And then from there, they're 4-0. They're at home. But as for Virginia Tech, in the immortal words of our boy Ricky Ricardo, you boys got some splaining to do. What was that against Old Dominion? What was that?
Look, their best quarterback, their star quarterback, Joshua Jackson, suffered a broken fibula. He got knocked out of the game. That's what led to the downfall. Their quarterback went down with an injury, and the next thing you know, everything fell apart. So now you got Ryan Willis. He's going to be taking over for the Hokies to go up against Duke, who's, oh, by the way, a better team, a juggernaut team, who's been on the rise for the last few years. If you've been living under a rock, Duke football has actually been on the rise. They're playing really good. They've been looking really well. Yeah, they've been lost in the shuffle in the ACC because you got teams like Florida State, Virginia Tech, Miami, Clemson. These teams have propelled, but Duke has been an above 500 team. They've ended up playing in bowl games in the last few years. So, no, this is not a shocker. This is not anything else. It's just nobody knows about Duke because Duke's been laying under the weeds. They are an actual perennial team that's been on the rise for at least, I want to say, the last about 2-3 years. They've been on the rise. And now they're going to get their statement win. I believe they will beat Virginia Tech regardless of the backup quarterback situation. Duke is hungry. They're at home. They're going to do it. They're going to pull this win off. I got Duke winning, Anthony. It's all yours.
Man alive. I mean, now I get it. I mean, I was watching highlights all over the place, updates, and then I tuned in to see the winning moment for Old Dominion. And yes, MF, if you're wondering, there was a stampede on the Old Dominion field, which I know how much you love, and your boy Scotty Van Pelt, I know how much he loves the Stampedes, just like you do. But anywho, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually agree with you, MF. I mean, following the injury to Josh Jackson, Virginia Tech is relying on Kansas transfer Ryan Willis to run the show. Perhaps he simply needs a competent supporting cast to play well, but Duke's 25th ranked defense will be stingy. Plus, the dismissal of edge rusher Trayvon Hill removed the best pass rushing threat from Tech's defense. So yes, I am going with Duke as well. My final score, 28-20, Duke over Virginia Tech. And now we move on to the game of the week. It's here. 7:30, a special 7:30 start time over on ABC. The number 4 Ohio State Buckeyes, the number 9 Penn State Nittany Lions, Beaver Stadium, Happy Valley, whiteout over 100,000. You know who's calling this. You don't need a dirt sheet. You know who's working in this game. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor, they'll be there. Ohio State opening up as 3 to 4 point favorites. Oh my gosh. Whew. Try to find the glaring weakness for either team. Come up empty? Well, this Big Ten showdown is about as even as it gets. Penn State, however small the issue may be, has been susceptible to 15-yard gains on the ground. If Ohio State's running game is a threat, an efficient day from quarterback and Heisman Trophy contender Dwayne Haskins, I think will buoy the Buckeyes. So, like I said, this one can go either way. It really can. I wouldn't be surprised if Penn State wins at home. They've beaten Ohio State at home before. They did so recently. But I just got a feeling about this Ohio State team, especially Haskins and that running game. So, by a smidge, I'm going with Ohio State to win. My final score, 31-27, Ohio State over Penn State. 5-star classic, Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. A whiteout in Happy Valley on a Saturday night. Oh my God, that place is going to be jumping. That's all there is to say about that. And now I give it to Mr. Big Ten, MF. This is an MF special right here. Ohio State, Penn State, nothing more to say. Game of the week.
The last time we had the whiteout, Penn State beat Ohio State. And I think it's going to happen again. I'm calling for the win for Penn State. I think they're going to pull the upset. They are really good. So is Penn and so is Ohio State. Yes, these are going to be the battle of the juggernauts. This is going to be like a heavyweight championship fight. No doubt about it. But I think at the end, Penn State will find a way to knock off Ohio State. And this is going to be a big win for them. My final score is 35-30. Penn State knocks off Ohio State at Happy Valley. So nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
MF, can you believe we have our top 2 games of the week back to back? Can you believe that? We go from the game of the week to the game right behind, the number 2 game of the week. 7:30 kickoff over on NBC. The number 7 Stanford Cardinal, the number 8 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Notre Dame Stadium, under the lights in South Bend. Mike Tirico, Doug Flutie, Catherine Tappan will be there. And it's Notre Dame. Notre Dame opening up as 5.5-point favorites. And MF, I mean, we go from the game of the week to the game right behind at number 2, Stanford, Notre Dame. Notre Dame off an explosive showing against Wake Forest, and Stanford coming off that unbelievable comeback against Oregon, which, of course, got Eric Carrier into his angry man mode.
Oh yeah, and the thing is that I think Notre Dame is the better team in this one. Don't get me wrong. I like what I see from Stanford, and I mean, their comeback was resilient. There was really nothing bad to say about it. It was incredible. It was huge. Hats off to them for pulling it off. But this time around, I gotta go with Notre Dame, and I know Anthony Florio is gonna go ballistic right now, but I think they just got a better team. I just think and plus with them playing under the lights at Notre Dame Stadium, it's always a tough place to play. I look at what Michigan did and how great that battle was. I think it's going to be one of those type of games. I got Notre Dame winning this one 31-27. Notre Dame upending Stanford. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. I mean, Notre Dame 1/3 of a banner weekend for me too. I mean, MF, you're not the only one who had a banner weekend with Michigan dominating Nebraska and your Braves winning the NL East and your Dolphins continuing their winning ways. But look what happened from my teams in that same span of time last weekend myself. I mean, Notre Dame goes into Wake, puts up 56. I mean, my goodness. And then from there, my Yankees punched their 54th ticket to postseason history. And my Buffalo Bills pulled off the upset of the week in the NFL a week ago, going into Minnesota and having their way with the Vikings. I couldn't believe that. But anyways, I agree with you, MF. Of course I agree with you. It's Notre Dame, for goodness sakes. If your gut and head are not aligning for this contest, you're not alone. Notre Dame seemed fortunate to win its first 3 games, and Stanford already has quality wins over San Diego State, USC, and Oregon. But the numbers, whether third down conversions, red zone efficiency, or run-pass matchups, all have negligible differences, or they favor Notre Dame. So I agree with you, MF. I got Notre Dame winning as well. A little more higher scoring than you, just by a smidge. 34-29, Notre Dame over Stanford. That's going to be another 5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama, without a doubt. So another 7:30 kickoff as we move on. We have another surprisingly ranked team, formerly a basketball school, now showing that they can be a football school as well. The number 17 Kentucky Wildcats at home at Kroger Field in Lexington, They're going to be hosting the Gamecocks of South Carolina over on the SEC network. Kentucky, only favored by 1, and one of the spread has this as a pick'em game. And on the call for this one will be Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik. And man, this is tough. I mean, Kentucky will be competitive whenever the rushing attack is a problem for opponents. South Carolina, though, has shut down non-Georgia running games. Combined with Kentucky's unspectacular third down defense, the Gamecocks do have a clear blueprint for a road win. But this will be a 60-minute slugfest up front. I'm torn. I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina were to pull an upset here. But this game's in Kentucky, and I just believe in this Kentucky team way too much. I mean, they're catching my eye right now, especially after what they did to Mississippi State. How can you not go with Kentucky? 26-21. Kentucky over South Carolina keeps up their winning ways. MF, we just talked about how Duke went from a basketball school to a football school, and now Kentucky's doing the same. What's going on here?
No, they and the thing is they're lying under the weeds, and the thing is they haven't hit the big names yet. They're not the biggest names yet. They're not the biggest team up to this point. They're just playing good football. And I agree. Kentucky wins 28-21. Anthony, it's yours.
Alrighty, let's move on. And we got 3 games left, and we move on to another game of the week. I would probably say, based on the polls, I would probably consider this maybe the number 3 game of the week. It's 8:30. It'll be at 8:30 over on Fox. The number 11 Washington Huskies at home at Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium. They're going to be hosting the number 20 BYU Cougars. Yes, indeed. This one's going to be over on Fox, and it's going to be Aaron Goldsmith with Brady Quinn and Bruce Feldman. And it is Washington opening up as 17 to 17.5 point favorites. So MF, I mean, BYU Washington, number 3 game of the week.
And this one's going to be an interesting battle, at least in my mind. This is going to be a very good battle. BYU definitely has been flying under the radar lately, and they've been playing really good as well. And the next thing you know, you got Washington, who, I don't want to say they've been tested, but they have been playing really good lately. So I got to go, and I'm going to say it. Washington should win, but BYU is really going to make this very difficult, to say the very least. At the end of the day, I got Washington winning it, but it's going to be close, so nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, BYU deserved all the praise for its upset of Wisconsin in Madison a couple weeks ago, but the Cougars have not displayed an offense that is consistently capable of navigating top competition. Washington, on the other hand, has arguably the best defense in the country. As long as turnovers don't give BYU easy scoring chances, I think the Dogs should win handily. So I agree with you, MF. I have Washington winning, but I think they're going to pull away. I got Washington winning this one. I'm going to go 38-17, Washington over BYU. A couple more games to go here. 9:15 kickoff over on ESPN. The number 5 LSU Tigers at home at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. Another one of those infamous Saturday night games that we hear so much about. They're going to be hosting the Ole Miss Rebels. LSU opening up as 10.5 to 11 point favorites, and we have Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Todd McShay on the call. So the last time Ole Miss encountered a nationally competent defense, it mustered only 248 yards and 7 points. LSU surrendered 330 passing yards to Louisiana Tech, but still a meager 6.6 yards per attempt. The Tigers will improve to 5-0, but this will be closer than you think. I got LSU winning this one, 31-23 over Ole Miss, a game Ole Miss team. Nothing more to say except MF. I mean, LSU at home, Saturday night under the lights in Baton Rouge. We know the stories about that.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Look, I'm going to say it. I got LSU winning as well. I think this is going to be a very good matchup. Great battle, to say the very least. It's going to be a fight to the end. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm going to say LSU wins. So, Anthony, on to the final game.
Final game of the week. MF will start it off. A 10:30 kickoff over on Fox Sports 1. Our number 4 game of the week right here. The number 19 Oregon Ducks squaring off against the number 24 California Golden Bears at Cabam Field at California Memorial Stadium. And on the call for this one is going to be Justin Kutcher with DeMarco Murray and Petros Papadakis. And trying to find the... All right. Oregon opening up as 1.5 to 2 point favorites. So, MF, I mean, Oregon, they had everything going their way against Stanford last week. Eric Carrier was, ready to go into celebration mode. But then all of a sudden the wheels fell off and Eric Carrier went into, well, I hate to say it, but vintage EDP 445 mode.
Yeah, he went on a rager, and I hate to say this, but Eric, prepare for another rage. I'm calling for the upset. I'm going with California to knock off. I got California to knock off Oregon. There's nothing more to say. So, Anthony, I got nothing more to say. So that's it. I'm calling for the upset. So nothing more to say. So yeah.
Okay.
Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. I disagree with you, MF. This is one of our rare disagreements here. Cal's high-powered offenses of recent years are just that, history. This isn't a scoring attack built to thrive on pace and volume, unlike Oregon. The Golden Bears will be competitive if the secondary continues to play well, but a letdown on the back end opposite Oregon quarterback Justin Herbert is a recipe for disaster. So, and Oregon, they're going to be, they're angry after letting that, what was supposedly going to be an easy win over Stanford, an epic collapse if there ever was one. So I think Oregon will bounce back, and they'll bounce back heavily. 48-27, Oregon over Cal. So there's really nothing more to say except now we move on now to our newest power poll, which, of course, has definitely been very controversial in recent weeks, and I'm sure this week will be no exception. So as I will start it off, I have my rankings right here and my reasoning behind them. So here we are. Starting off at number 10. Just excuse me for 1 minute. Just waiting. Okay, there you go. All right. Number 10 for me, I got the West Virginia Mountaineers. In a somewhat easy win over Kansas State, Bill Snyder may have provided the quote of the day. I can't coach a team that can't get 6 inches on a play. Sure, the Wildcats failed in a first half fourth down gamble, but that wasn't the main reason the Mountaineers dominated 35-6. So nothing more to say here. My number 10, the West Virginia Mountaineers. MF, I'm sure this is probably going to be a disagreement, but who do you have anyway?
Clearly disagreement, no doubt about it. My number 10 is I'm giving it to Stanford. Look, great win, big come from behind win over Oregon, no doubt about it, but it was only a 7-point win. Nothing amazing about that at all. Yes, it was against Oregon. Granted, I'll give you that as the light of day, but I need to see something more out of that. So nothing more to say. My number 9, I'm going to say Oklahoma. I'm going to say Oklahoma, and the reason why I'm giving it to Oklahoma is 28-21 win over Army. I mean, good game, solid performance, but I can't really celebrate a team that only just got away, escaped by victory, just like with Stanford. I'm going to be the same way. So my number 9 is Oklahoma. They're ranked 6th in the nation, but in my power poll, they're only 9th. Anthony, it's yours.
Okay. we disagree over number 10, and I'll be honest with you. Believe it or not, MF, I actually have Stanford a little bit higher. Believe it or not, because of the comeback. That's why. But here, this is one of the rare times where we're actually going to agree. I have Oklahoma as well. You're absolutely right, MF. You got this one. Oklahoma Sooners, number 9. I mean, did OU really run only 40 plays? Did Army almost beat its first top 5 team in 55 years? Yes to both. The Sooners just weren't ready for the Black Knights clock-eating option. That's why OU goes down to 9 here, moving down. So, moving down 3 spots to where I had them last week. So that's exactly right. So Oklahoma comes in at number 9. Let's move on to number 8. And my number 8, once again, my Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They come in at number 8. And it looks like Brian Kelly has himself a quarterback. Ian Book threw for 325 yards in a rout of Wake Forest. Irish are suddenly back in the playoff race with Stanford coming up. So nothing more to say here. Notre Dame Fighting Irish, number 8. What do you say, MF?
I can't believe it. We agree. Notre Dame's number 8. Right. Yeah. No, you made every compelling argument that you needed it to make. You're absolutely right with everything you just said there. So I can't really discount or credit or even say anything about it. So yeah, you absolutely got this one right. So well done. Number 7, LSU. Look, I know a lot of people are going to start saying, what the heck? Why are you putting them there? Look, they did win their game, obviously, 38-21 over Louisiana Tech. It was more the defense really came in and dominated that game more than the offense. I mean, the offense was all right, but nothing amazing about it. So I'm going to say it. Number 7, I'm going to give it to LSU. So, Anthony, it's yours.
And now we're back to disagreeing. I got LSU way higher. And this is where I actually have Stanford. Stanford Cardinal, number 7 for me. The Cardinal may have just become the Pac-12's best playoff hope. A stunning comeback at Oregon made it so. After Justin Herbert missed on only 2 throws in regulation, the Stanford D forced him into 5 incompletions in overtime. So nothing more to say on that. Stanford comes in at number 7. Number 6, this is going to be another disagreement because MF talked about Auburn earlier. I have Auburn here at 6. I mean, the Tigers don't play a true road game until next Saturday at Mississippi State. They better take care of business. An unremarkable win over an unremarkable team, 34-3 over State of Sorrells, Arkansas, keeps the Tigers in the SEC West hunt. So I'm sure it's probably going to be disagreements across the board going forward. That is until number 1, of course. So nothing more to say here. Auburn Tigers 6. So I know it's a disagreement, MF, but who do you have anyway?
Kentucky. I'm going to shock the world, and I'm going to put Kentucky in there. Look, Kentucky deserves it. What they've been doing lately, they, a 28-7 over Mississippi State, absolutely throttled them. Definitely worthy of the praise and the love and the great victory that they got. So no, as far as that goes, nothing more to say. Kentucky is my number 6. We are in the top 5 now. All right, number 5. I gotta say it. I'm gonna go with UCF. Look, they dominated with the game that they had, and look, I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, wait a minute," but they haven't really played anybody, legit or good. Okay, fine, granted, but given with everything that they did from a year ago, given everything that they've done now, they deserve to be in the rankings. They deserve the recognition that they're getting. And right now, they are the non-Power 5 conference right now that would be a part of the New Year 6 when it's all said and done. I'm just going to start touting it and giving all the credit in the world to them because they deserve to be where they're at right now. Number 5, UCF. Florio, go.
Wow. I honestly don't have Kentucky or UCF in my poll, but I definitely will keep an eye out for both. Absolutely. but I need to see a little bit more from them, especially when we get to the big stuff down the road. So with that being said, my number 5 is Georgia, made in Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, the Dogs are vulnerable to the run. That's one way of looking at it after a 2-touchdown win at Missouri. Here's another. Georgia already has 4 non-offensive touchdowns this season. So we'll park it there. Georgia's number 5. Moving on to number 4. This is where I have the Clemson Tigers. Trevor Lawrence seems to wait a minute. It was it. Oh yeah, that's right. I have the evens. MF has the odds. That's right. Number 4 is Clemson. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence seems to have become the starting quarterback without starting. That was the takeaway from a 4-touchdown win over Georgia Tech. Lawrence came off the bench to complete 13 of 18 for 173 yards. But you can't just put Kelly Bryant on the bench, can you? So nothing more to say on that. Clemson comes in at number 4. MF, what do you say?
Disagree, but I do have got Clemson a little higher, but not much. My number 4, this is where I have the made in Georgia Bulldogs. So you're practically there. You're just not all the way there. You're almost there. So, but you did make the argument. 4 is Georgia. Number 3, this is where I have Clemson in my number 3 spot. So Anthony, it's yours.
Where are we? Okay, 3. Yeah. Ohio State. The Ohio State Buckeyes come in at number 3 for me. The return of Urban Meyer looked a lot like Ryan Day never left. The Buckeyes slammed Tulane in a tune-up for a season-defining trip to Penn State. Just don't let me hear anything about redemption for the sitting coach. The Athletic reported Saturday a plan is forming to make Day the coach in waiting. So we'll read into that what we will. So with that being said, my number 3 is Ohio State. So MF, what do you say to that?
I kind of have to. Wait a minute. What happened here? Are we sure who am I missing here? I thought I had a team here that. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. All right. That's right. Penn State, because they didn't play. All right. So I guess I'll give you the Ohio State. I agree with that. Number 2, I got Penn State, and obviously you know who number 1 is. So yeah, no. Number 3 is Ohio State. Number 2 is Penn State. Even though they didn't play anybody, off the heels of their last game was domination. So yeah, Anthony, it's yours.
Well, Penn State actually played last Friday. They played that Friday night game against Illinois
and crushed them.
Yes, they did. But I still need to see. I'll tell you what. I don't have Penn State in there this time around. But here's the thing: they beat Ohio State. Oh yes, they'll be there next week. Believe me. But my number 2, it's LSU. I mean, it never rains in Tiger Stadium, but sometimes things don't go as planned. Louisiana Tech made a surprising run after being down 24-0. LSU committed its first turnover of the season, a Joe Burrow interception, and Ed Orgeron grumbled. Obviously, we're not happy. Coach O said of a 17-point win over the Bulldogs. Up next, an interesting SEC West battle with Ole Miss. So there's nothing more to say on that. So it's LSU at 2. Number 1, we definitely agree on this. Your reigning and defending undisputed national champion Alabama Crimson Tide. For the first time this season, Bama failed to score 50 points. Texas A&M had the audacity to hang around until the second quarter. Anybody out there in Bama Nation panicking? Jason Nixon-Baugh? Didn't think so. You may have missed the fact Alabama will be a double-digit favorite against every remaining opponent. So nothing more to say. Number 1, it's Bama. MF, put a bow on it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Alabama number 1. They're dominating. They're dominating to the point that it's just unbelievable. They're just playing tremendous football, and that's all that we can say about it right now. So no doubt about it. Number 1 is Alabama Crimson Tide. Anthony, it's all yours.
Yes, indeed. And that will put the bow on this edition of College Football Thursday. Before we wrap up, Miami still leading UNC 33-10. That's now at the end of 3. So keep an eye on that. And I've looked into next week's schedule, and I think based on the matchups we see, unless the rankings change, which I'm sure they will, I think I can confirm Texas and Oklahoma, the Red River rivalry, as the game of the week next week. So it's looking good, MF. It's looking good for the Red River rivalry. So, all right. So that will do it for this edition of College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, this time tomorrow, actually 24 hours from now, we'll be coming at you again. This time we can take it a little more easier. We can take a little more time if we need to for our newest edition, Week 4 edition of NFL Friday. Run down the slate of Week 4. I mean, some interesting matchups. Of course, the Dolphins and the Patriots. I know we're going to have a lot to say about that one. Who nobody can believe how it's looking going into that one. And we have some other great matchups too, including 2 great AFC divisional matchups that MF and I have had the pleasure of calling over the years. Ravens and Steelers, Chiefs and Broncos, plus some other great actions. So check it all out tomorrow. Of course, power rankings as well. So that's tomorrow night, Week 4 edition of NFL Friday, 24 hours from now. We're off for the weekend, and then Monday we got Ridiculously Raw. And then either Tuesday or Wednesday we'll have the Cerebral Smack Talk, depending on MF's work schedule. And then 1 week from tonight, College Football Thursday, Week 6. Of course, the headline game as of right now, game of the week, it is looking like it's going to be the Red River rivalry with Texas and Oklahoma. So looking forward to that. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for NFL Friday, it's Anthony Floyo here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dede Woodson, and Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for NFL Friday, you've been watching Week 5 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 and YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.